Westbrook. You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah!
All right, guys, what's going on? It is Deibs, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Welcome to Party on Broad. The Party on Broad podcast can be found on iTunes and Spotify. Smash that subscribe button, guys, if you're watching us here on YouTube. Today, we are talking about Deni Avdija, one of the top point forward prospects in all of the NBA draft. And joining me today is my man, Austin. Follow him on Twitter at KrellTPL. Austin is the host of the Feed to Embiid podcast with Brock Landis. Check that out on Twitter at the Feed to Embiid. And, you know, Austin's got something else going on in his crockpot. Tell the fans what is going on, my man.
I believe I will be taking over not taking over, but sort of sharing the beat job with Jason pretty soon. And then, maybe next year we see a little bit of a role reversal. Who knows? But doing that, also be writing about the general NBA for Vince Quinn's website, The Spark, Vince Quinn of WIP. Gave me the opportunity, so I'm excited about that. Lots going on here. Being a versatile swing man, they call me. Some are saying. We'll see where life takes.
Awesome. Also joining us today is my man Thiago. Follow him on Twitter at tscabbia. What's going on, my man?
I'm doing great, man. First of all, Austin, congratulations. Well deserved. And for some of you guys who may not know, Austin and I had back-to-back birthdays this week. So we're at the 1-2 punch in the month of July. So yeah.
I am 12.
I am like 12 times 3.
like Carlos from the Benchwarmers. I am 12.
All right. So today we are talking about Deni Avdija, one of the top point forwards in this entire draft. Austin wrote an awesome breakdown scouting report on this guy. Check this out over at thepaintingline.com. And before we get started, make sure you follow everything NBA draft over at the Blue Root TPL on Twitter. Austin, who is this guy? Give us a rundown.
So Deni is a 19-year-old forward. He is from Israel. He's playing from Maccabi Tel Aviv, Fox, I believe they were. And he was playing up a little bit for his age, so which is why his production, his playing time was kind of scarce. But he has really seen an uptick recently in the opportunity he's been receiving since they returned from the pandemic. He's been playing a lot more, and there was a lot of question about his jumper, and that's really taken a step up since the return. So I think he is certainly one of the most exciting prospects in this pool for sure.
All right, let's do a little deep dive into this guy's strengths. Go ahead, Thiago. What's one of Deni Avdija's strengths?
Yeah, so Deni's an interesting guy for a lot of different reasons. When you watch his game, primarily what stands out to me is he's kind of a jack of all trades kind of guy. And it's really fun to watch him rebound the ball, push the ball in transition, and really try to find his teammates out in the open court. He's got a little bit of that kind of like Ben Simmons-like vision in the open court, and he can really find guys cutting, guys flash into the corner. So when you watch his game, for me, one of the things that I really enjoy about his game was just his ability to involve his teammates and really play well beyond his years. His IQ really stands out. So I think that's something to keep an eye on in the NBA, because there are going to be things about his physical development that are going to have to be talked about and worked on. So.
For me, I think I see this guy as a pick and roll weapon. Between his size, passing, IQ, IQ is off the charts for this guy. But I really like this kid as like a combo forward / secondary playmaker in the pick and roll at the next level. I think the main attraction with Deni Avdija is his ability to impact the game while facilitating a pick and roll, but also being a positive in the fast break, in the half court sets. The shooting's inconsistent. It's gotten better, but mechanics seem fine. Seems like he has a fluid jumper. So if he can get that jump shot consistent, man, I think the ceiling with this kid is like through the roof offensively. And we're talking about a major weapon in the pick and roll moving forward, and one of the most fascinating point forward prospects in this entire draft. Finish off Deni Avdija's strengths, Austin.
So I think Maccabi Tel Aviv Fox did a lot of using him as a power forward. They would a lot of their plays in their half court set would start out with like him setting a ball screen and fading into a flare screen out in the perimeter. So they were looking to get him involved as like a stretch four a lot, and then they'd also use like back cuts to get him isolated and in good positioning on the block. I think honestly, it's hard to pinpoint one strength with him. I from the videos that I've seen, his work ethic is pretty good. I mean, he posted videos of him shooting in an empty gym during the pandemic, and he was, putting up like 800 shots in the morning, and really just working on his stroke. And by the way, that stroke is virtually flawless. It's a beautiful, beautiful stroke. I think his strength is underrated for a 19-year-old power forward. There were plays that I saw of him where he was able to sort of not get pushed around in the post, not get pushed out to the perimeter and force a jump shot. He was able to get into a position where he's comfortable and capitalize on those opportunities. You touched on the fact that he has vision like Ben Simmons, someone did. I think a lot of guys have vision. A lot of guys really, they make nice passes. They push well in transition. I think what makes Deni so intriguing as a passer is that he has this ability to slow the game down on a play-by-play basis and really just make the right read consistently. There are so many times when there's like three different opportunities and three different looks that he could take, and instead he just waits for the defense to show their card, and then he hits these he hits these fabulous passes. He's well-rounded, can shoot it, pass it. His defensive motor is underrated. I think his strength is underrated. And all around, I think his greatest strength is probably his youth and his size. He's so young. He could continue to grow. And I think he has one of the highest ceilings of anyone in this draft.
All right. Let's move on to, weaknesses for Deni Avdija. For me, is personally, what is he defensively? You watched a lot more tape than I did, Austin. So I'm excited to hear what your thoughts on this guy defensively. But obviously, I think the IQ is there. This guy is an elite IQ prospect. But defensively, championship teams are always defined by their weakest defender. And this dude is just going to struggle staying in front of NBA players. I don't like the foot quickness to be able to keep up with forwards at the next level. This is a guy that clearly needs to bulk up both upper body, lower body. Is he physical enough to defend the wing on the perimeter? And that's just an area that I could see him being exploited in the NBA. Any take on that, Austin?
So I think with Deni Avdija, again, that goes back to his strength. There was a play where he had a more big man in the post who was trying to sort of defend, and it was Eddie Tavares of I think either Real Madrid or FC Barcelona, which I thought was a soccer team, so I was shocked to see them there. But I guess they don't have a basketball team there, so I mean, you send the soccer guys. You just send the soccer guys, I guess. But he was able to hold his ground and front him off and deny him a pass and actually get a steal out of it. So I think Deni's defense his strength as a defender is pretty underrated. For me, the weakness is that, number one, the shooting numbers are inconsistent. Obviously, again, I believe in his stroke. I believe in his ability to become a really, really, really good shooter in the NBA. But the numbers speak for themselves, and you have to go on the evidence you have. And on top of that, I think his defensive footwork is a little bit slow. Against that in the NBA, there will be guys who will change pace, change directions really quick. And if he can adjust that footwork and cut down the heavy footedness and get quicker, choppier steps, they're going to get an angle on him real quickly, and then they'll beat him to the basket. And then if your help isn't there, you're left in the dust.
Go ahead, Thiago.
Yeah, Austin's shooting mechanics, there's nothing like it in the internet today. It is the drug to take.
You guys laugh, but I'm telling you.
It's interesting to hear him say that he slows the game down, because I actually saw, specifically in the half court, I saw a guy who plays a little bit too fast and a guy who really was perhaps at times too aggressive to try to get his own shot. And to what you guys are saying, like from a physical standpoint, I don't think his body's there yet. And you can really see that play out in defense. I mean, he gets bodied constantly down in the low block. But I think that, he needs to be a little bit more aware in the half court to be able to slow it down and play more within the team's concept. And I think that's something that's going to come a little bit over time. But from a physical and athletic profile, I am a little bit less worried about the body filling up. He's only 19 years old. I am, however, worried about the foot speed like you guys talked about. I mean, if he's getting dusted by guys in that league, I can't even imagine what that's going to look like in the NBA. So I don't know, maybe Austin, you see a potential for him to develop that part of his game, or do you see that as just being kind of a lost cause?
I say slow down. I don't mean like he slows down the game like from a pace standpoint. I'm saying like in his mind, he has this ability to really slow the play down and see everything that's unfolding in front of him in a way that he can react to and articulate the play to almost. So I don't mean like he literally slows the pace down. I mean, he just has this natural gift that he gets the ball and he can see things that are unfolding in almost slow motion, and he's like able to dissect and sort of pick you apart that way.
Sure.
I do think he isn't like this buff beast yet. He isn't like Johnny Bravo. He's just compared him to a cartoon character.
This pod has gone haywire.
Like many other ones do.
It's true.
No, but like I think I was most impressed and most encouraged by the fact that he could actually hang with bigger defenders in the post on both the offensive and defensive side. He wasn't getting pushed around. I see it a little differently than you do there, but I mean, I'll admit he definitely has some ways to go with, beefing up and becoming like a guy who can outwork you, can outmuscle you. But I do like his fitness base and his strength base. For me, again, it's just that defensive chopping. It's the footwork, the quick steps.
Right. All right. Let's talk about best fits. I'll start. I think Deni is pretty close to being a lock for the top 10 in this year's draft. That being said, I look at one team, and the fit is insanely clear to me, and I'm talking about the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks need a secondary playmaker after Trae Young. A 1-2 punch of Trae Young and Deni is actually, I think, really intriguing. With Deni, Trae can finally focus a little bit off ball. Pressure comes off his shoulders a little bit offensively. The Hawks have the 4th pick, and I think it would be a home run draft to see them trade down slightly, gain an asset, and take Deni Avdija. What about you, Thiago?
Yeah, so I'm going to go a little bit more off script with this one, and I'm going to mention the Miami Heat. And the reason why I mentioned the Miami Heat, let me finish. The reason why I mentioned Miami Heat, Austin does not like Jimmy Butler. You can tell. The reason why I mention it is because their owner, Mickey Arison, he's actually from Israel. He was born in Tel Aviv, Israel. And I do wonder, is there a part of him that perhaps wants to take a shot at a Israeli-born player that potentially has all-star written in his future? And does he want to go down that route? I'm interested. I think that, if you look at the Miami Heat, they have a lot of tradable assets. And their long-term play is really around getting another guy next to Jimmy Butler, perhaps even Giannis. So from that standpoint, you're looking to accumulate rookie contracts. You look to accumulate a lot of young players that you can fit around that salary structure. So can they leverage a guy like, Nunn or Derek Jones into a move up in the draft? I'm interested to see. But thinking outside the box, I like that idea of going to Miami with his fellow countrymen.
Go ahead, Austin.
I picture for the pre-draft workout, Jimmy sneaks into his hotel room, just dumps a bucket of ice water on him, and is like, "Wake up! It's 3:30. We gotta go. We're already late." and then they go over to the gym, and instead of then he's warming up, getting ready to shoot around, and then he's like, "Wait a second, what are we doing? There's no ball here." And he's like, "We're not playing basketball. We're playing dominoes, you idiot."
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
6 hours. And Jimmy beat him, and then he's like, he hasn't got it. He can't play. No. He can't. you don't have that dog in him, and then they don't draft him. For me, so I forget where I heard or read this, but the Cavaliers don't want to take another guard, so I think he'd make a lot of sense for them at a power forward spot. I look at Kevin Love, and I think if he could learn from Kevin Love and sort of have him as a mentor, that would be a tremendous benefit for him, and that would sort of definitely lead him towards reaching his potential. I mean, he's already a pretty good rebounder. He's been a good rebounder in Israel. Now, I want to say this, and I don't want this to be like me deflating Kevin Love, because Kevin Love's a tremendous player. But I also think that like Kevin Love, if that's the mold you're going to follow, I don't know that you're going to maximize the potential of Deni Avdija as someone who's like a stretch four and only a stretch floor. I think that might detract a little bit from I think Deni can be a really good passer, a secondary ball handler, a playmaker in both the full court and the half court. Something that Kevin Love isn't. Kevin Love, is a rebounding juggernaut, tremendous offensive option, great shooter. And he's a deservedly so a multi-time All-Star, but his game isn't well-rounded like I think Deni's is. So I think Cleveland would be a good fit and a good place for him to build a star level base from.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think it makes perfect sense. I hate the fit though. I mean, I hate him playing alongside those guards. They don't pass the ball. They're very focused on scoring. And to your point, what are you going to get out of Deni at that point? He's going to be a spot up shooter. I don't know, but it's interesting you brought that up for sure.
Well, if they're gonna win games anytime soon, they're gonna need people who can make shots, and they don't have those right now in Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. So they might as well start somewhere.
Absolutely.
All right, so that is a breakdown on Deni Avdija. Check out thepaintedlines.com for Austin's full breakdown scouting report on this dude. Lock it down to the Blue Root TPL on Twitter for all of our NBA draft coverage. Follow my man Austin on Twitter at CrellTPL. Check out the Feed to Embiid podcast. And follow my man Thiago on Twitter at TScabia. For Thiago, for Krell, for myself. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome.
Sixers win it! Wow! Oh man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook